Good morning, everybody. This is Daniel here with Propelio, and we've got Corey Thompson in the studio from GBT Investments. For those of you that know Corey, we know that we're in for a ride today. Fair warning, there may be some language that some people may find offensive. So if that's you, you might want to tune out now. We do have Corey here. Before we get too far into it, though, you are watching Propelio TV. Propelio TV is sponsored by Propelio.com. If you've never heard of Propelio.com, we provide MLS comps to real estate investors instantaneously 24/7. We've got real estate investor websites in beta now, so if you want to be a beta tester for our websites, join up with Propelio.com, 7-day free trial, lead lists, probates, affidavits of heirship, notice of trustee sales, Liz pendants, pre-foreclosures, all kinds of lists, massively discounted properties on the MLS and more. So if you haven't done it yet, check out Propelio.com. And before I go any further, let's get a shout out to Mr. Corey Thompson here.
I'm going to say something about that. He showed me the websites. They're in beta. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen. Matter of fact, as soon as he showed it to me, I was like, how do I sign up? He had to send a message to somebody. I'm number 1016 in the system. I know that now, so I can get it. So we're going to be trying it out. I'm going to do some click funnels and stuff like that with our Facebook page to the websites, because it goes automatically into Propelio's CRM. I think it's the coolest thing.
I'm excited, man.
I mean, look, we do a bunch of different things. We try to get creative with it. I'm going to do a paid Facebook ad over a certain city. I'm not going to mention it because I don't want y'all to go there. But anyways, I'm going to do a paid Facebook ad over a certain city, probably put $200 on it, do some tags like likely to move and stuff like that. I'm going to use their beta website, and I'll share the results in the Facebook group, Roughneck to Real Estate. If you don't know what that is, please go join the group.
It's a good group. Always got knowledge flowing through there. So Roughneck 2, the number 2.
The number 2, real estate. You know, what I want to talk about, people always ask me, and I think Daniel knows a little bit of my story because we've talked privately, but everybody wants to know, how do you get money? Do I need to find a deal first or money first? How did you go from this to that? How did you get to where you are? So I really want to break that down. I got a whiteboard up here. I'm going to draw some flow charts and kind of show you how
I'm interested in this.
How we got to where we're at, because you know, mindset is the most powerful thing when it comes to being successful in life. If you've got a positive mindset, if you always go attack, they call it luck, but good things just seem to happen when you're stuck in action. So that's kind of been our story. But I'm going to go all the way back to how I became an expert on mobile homes. Expert, used loosely. I don't even think there's such a thing. I think the people who build them don't even know that much about them. They're just a house. But I grew up in one, and I'm gonna start talking about that right now. It does. So, like Daniel, you had a mobile home park a small one that you own or financed houses out of, and we were talking about it. I currently live in an RV park.
Right.
It's funny because everybody's like, you live in an RV. You know, I think I got on at Folio yesterday. We're sitting at like 100 and something doors coming in. We'll be there at the end of next week. We'll have over 100 doors next week. So and I live in an RV. that comes back to the mindset. That comes back to why it is. So I grew up in a mobile home, little quarter-acre lot. It had particle board flooring, so whenever I'm live in Roughneck to Real Estate, you'll hear me talk about the particle board flooring. What do you think about particle board flooring in a mobile home?
You fall through it.
If it
gets wet, you fall through it.
And that's exactly what happened. Our toilet overflowed in our bathroom. The floor went away, and all of a sudden our outside dogs were inside dogs. It was that is my entire education on mobile homes. And I think people take that for granted, but that is the reason why I don't like particle board flooring in mobile homes. And then whenever you go to replace it, you got to get underneath the walls. It's just terrible. It's a terrible situation. So there's certain things that I learned through life experience that I apply in real estate investing every day. But I also know mobile homes are a great investment because the mobile home that I lived in when I was 3 years old is currently rented for $600 a month. The exact home in the exact park. My dad worked in the oil field, so he moved us down there, and it's still rented for $600 a month today. That park, I went and looked at it, ran the numbers. It's just sitting outside of Centerville, Texas. It's probably worth $1.2 million, just off the numbers.
Mobile homes are little ATMs on wheels. That's what I always like to call them, because you can't find anything cheaper that produces that kind of cash-on-cash return.
No, not at all. Like, you know, when we buy, we're normally all in on a mobile home about $20,000, set up, plumbed in, everything. And we rent it for $700 to $800 a month.
See, I ran a different business model than you. I would never buy a mobile home and move it. I always bought them in place and then owner financed them in place. We did it a little differently.
And we did, like, the reason why I want to own the park, there's a lot of reasons why I want to own the park, but we'll get into that a little bit later. It's going to be hard for me to stay on topic.
Okay.
That's why Daniel's here to kind of rein me back in. But what I really want to discuss is how you come from that circumstance, how you come from being dead broke, living in a mobile home, to getting into high school, having some really good people get around you, which then creates purpose later in life. Because what happened to me was, as I grew up, I had coaches and teachers and people like that seen a little troubled kid and took a leap of faith because my test scores were through the roof, but I wasn't doing my homework. So they couldn't figure that out. But I kind of gamed the system because they made the test. They made the test 75% of the grade, not me. So if I did all my assignments in class and aced all my tests, I was guaranteed an 80. I didn't have to do homework. I could build tree houses. Like they created that system. I didn't. I just played by their rules, and I've kind of lived that life. I've kind of lived that life ever since. So from that, I want to do a shout out to Coach Cottrell, athletic director at Corsicana High School, for instilling that work ethic during the off season when people, a lot of people can't perform unless the lights are on. In off season, it was my time to make enemies and friends because I could dominate the weight room. I could do all those things. And then through that, I got the respect of peers that otherwise wouldn't have been friends with me through football and athletics and things like that, and developing that team that has led to where we are at today. What we did, and my business partner, I'm going to get up here on the whiteboard. Travion.
Oh, we over on the whiteboard already?
Yes, I'm going to show it to you because in high school,
I'll just step on back here.
Where do I got to go? This one? Why is the black one so big? So, anyways, we got this. My business partner's name is Jacob. I don't know if you know this. Me and Jacob became friends because I needed a ride to 7-on-7 football practice. Okay, and now we're business partners in GBT Investments. So, from Jacob and Corey, I want to get this up here because there's four very important people in our mobile home park business, and they all came in at different places. So we were football teammates. Sorry if I'm. And I don't know if y'all follow me on Facebook, but my mom won the Powerball the other day. She got $560 million, and I've never met her. So she wants to keep it a secret because she knows I'm a savage because she found me on Facebook, and she knows I'm coming for it. So she's up in New Hampshire trying to keep it a secret. I'm going to look her up. I'm going to find her. I've never met my mom. Jacob's mother, one of my other business partners, well, we do owner finance deals together, Shane Wharton, and his mom have had, their families were like my extended families. Emery, my daughter, everybody knows her. She considers Sherry Wharton, Shane's mother, her honey, her grandmother. These are the people that shaped me early on, that kind of extended me an olive branch to be able to come to their house, to be able to go haul hay, to be able to work, to be able to do those things. And I've taken all of that work ethic that was passed on to me through football, hauling hay, and all of that, and I applied it to the oil field. When I got to the oil field, I shot up through the ranks, was a supervisor there, did a lot of things that some people might regret. I have no regrets in my 20s. I appreciate everything I got to do in my 20s, all the money I wasted, all the $1,000 bar tabs, all the trips to Vegas, all the trips to New York. I appreciate my 20s way more. Somebody was calling me a keyboard warrior the other day, and I was like, man, my buddy told me, he's like, I've had to bail you out of jail more times than anybody I know. I fought my way through my entire 20s. Two of my really good friends who are also business partners, I met them through actually getting in the car to go ride to a fight after leaving the bar in my 20s. Those are some of the most important relationships I have in life, and they keep me on purpose because, when I'm fighting for Jacob, whenever I'm out working for Jacob, when I'm got a bigger purpose attached to it than just a dollar sign, it's about retiring my best friend that started a business. So what we did was Jacob and me are teammates in high school. That's what this is, high school, okay? I get laid off from the oil field. I'm sitting at home. I'm applying for jobs to go to work overseas. They're cutting people's heads off over there at this point in time. I got a brand new daughter. Let's see, been doing this 3 years. Emery's 4. It's about a year and a half, maybe. Anyways, got a brand new daughter. My relationship with her mother is on the rocks at that point in time. I think we're still together then. We were still together then, but it's coming like, it's going to be 3 years in April. So we're in February. In April, it's going to be 3 years I've been in real estate. Jacob reaches out to me and says, hey, I'll tell you a little backstory about Jacob. Jacob's father passed away in 2011, okay? So Jacob's dad, tremendous man. You know, we used to work for him, work with him all the time, you know, gave Jacob his work ethic, held him accountable, made him the man he is today. And he worked his entire life, did the 401k thing, had a massive 401k by my standards, did everything like he was supposed to. Wasn't retired yet and died in a car wreck. So Jacob, at that point in time, I think it's Eric Thomas says there's 3 reasons why somebody changes. There's a financial trouble, there's a health risk, and I don't remember what the third one is. But for Jacob, this was the moment, because when his dad passed away, he had to figure out how to make the 401k cash flow for his mother. Right? He had to take over what his dad was doing with the investing part. So he had been looking into real estate already at that point in time because of his own 401k. He'd been listening to Bigger Pockets, doing everything that the people do. He'd been doing the research. He understood probably a little bit about wholesaling. He definitely understood rentals because that's how this business started. He just wanted to buy some rental properties so his mother would have some passive income. This is how the business started, but that happened in 2011. We're talking about 2015, okay? So Jacob's been doing research on this for at least a year at this point in time. And he reaches out to me. There's a website out there called texags.com. It's where us Aggies hang out. I'm not an Aggie, I'm just a t-shirt fan. But Jacob been on there and he found out about a meetup, a networking event. When people ask me how you got to where he is, networking is always my number one answer. Without networking, we wouldn't be where we are today. I would have never met Daniel. You know, networking is the cheap, easy, free thing to go do, to go talk to people. So Jacob found this. He knew I was sitting at home, laid off from work, and he just invited me down. I was kind of depressed. My entire life, like where I got my sense of self-worth, came from providing for my family. It came from that $30,000 a month paycheck. It came from being able to go to New York at a whim. I mean, 4 years ago, we are, going to watch Derek Jeter's last game at Fenway Park. You know, we're paying $5,000 a seat to sit basically in the owner's box and take pictures of Jeter. That's what my life was like before I got laid off from the oil field. We did whatever we wanted, whenever we wanted. We were $30,000 a month millionaires, I guess is the way to put it. But that was where my self-worth came from. I had no concept of money. I had no concept of growing money. I had no concept of retirement. In my mind, I was going to work the rest of my life, save, a couple of $1 million, retire at whatever age I got tired of working, and that was going to be it. That was going to be my entire life. That was the belief system that I was brought up in. In my mind, I was doing better than everybody else around me, so why would I want to grow more? Why would I want to do anything more than what I was already doing? If I just show up to work and get that paycheck, then I'll be able to retire. Well, now I'm laid off and I can't do that. So my self-worth, I don't think I was as depressed then as I'd ever been, but pretty close. You're sitting there, I was in my underwear on the couch every day sending out resumes, not wanting to go overseas because I didn't want to get my head cut off, but it was looking like that's where I was going to go. Jacob reaches out to me, says, hey, come to this meetup with me. I don't know what a meetup was, networking event, nothing like that. Before that, he had a little conversation with me about wanting to buy some houses, maybe some rent houses in the Grosbeck area, and kind of that. So I'd started looking in the swapping shops on Facebook, the online garage sales, and there was this gentleman that wanted to sell his house for $10,000, essentially. It was a 3-bedroom, 1-bath brick house. We actually bought it for $10,000. But at this point in time, I didn't know how to buy a house. I didn't know anything took place at the title company or anything like that. So when he invites me to the meetup, we get there, and I have a little bit of a personality. I don't know if y'all know that, but when I get there, I'm sitting across the table from a guy named Keith Roberts, and he's trying to explain to me how to fill out a contract. First thing we listened to was Jeff, one of our hard money lenders, talk about hard money lending. I had no idea what he was talking about, and I thought he was crazy. I thought, this guy's insane. But if he wants to loan me money based on what a house is worth, we'll probably go do that. but Keith is trying to explain to me how to fill out a contract. I didn't want to fill out a contract. I was going to take $10,000 cash in my right pocket, go to the guy that wants to sell his house for $10,000, hand him $10,000. I guess he was going to hand me back a deed, but I didn't even know how to do that transaction. And that's how I was going to buy that house. That's literally what I was going to do if I hadn't gone to that meetup, was walk out there and do that. But he explained to me, you got to take it to a title company. You got to do this, you got to do that. So from there, we leave out. We're standing on the sidewalk in front of the house, in front of the venue. And I asked Jacob, do you want to do this or not? And he said, yeah, I should have about $100,000 to be able to work with coming up. What do you got? And I said, I'll put about 60 into it. So we started out with about $160, $160,000, which is a lot. I will agree that for everybody that says, well, it must be nice to start with $160,000, we didn't just get $160,000 chilling. We had saved that, we had worked for that, and that's what we put into it. But we didn't have a real estate education, none, zero. Jacob had listened to Bigger Pockets. I knew where to look at the tax roll and see what a house was worth. That was our entire real estate education. So 2 high school teammates, don't have an entity formed, no LLC, no nothing. Walk out of there. The next week, I go to Texas Tuesday tax auction to try to buy 30 acres. I meet an investor. He shows me 2 houses in Grosbeck. And one of them's $12,000, got dead cats in it. This is a steal. So we buy it. And the other one was on auction.com. And, my buddy, this is literally how I did the evaluation on that house. My buddy was on the other side of town and sold his house for $75,000. And it's kind of a shithole. So this one is kind of a shithole, and I can probably sell it for $75,000. That was my entire evaluation. Bid, bought, purchased. May 7th of 2015, we closed on our very first house. I never will forget that day because I couldn't figure out why it took so long. I was like, what is going on? I got my money. Why? Just take my money and give me my house. I'm ready to go. As soon as I get them dead cats out of there, I'm going to rent this thing, or I'm going to flip it. I thought I was going to sell it for like $60,000. It was actually on MLS. I didn't even know what that was at the time. I did not know that it was listed. I just thought, anyways, knew nothing about it. I just thought I was going to buy this house, get the dead cats out, put some new carpet in, turn around and sell it for $60,000. Severely undereducated, but we had our own capital. So we were willing to risk it, because my worst case scenario in all these situations were, I'll just sell my own house. If we miss on one of these, I will sell my own house and move into it. That's what I told Jacob from the jump. If I mess up on this, I'll just sell my house and I'll move into it. Still my worst case scenario. My worst case scenario is still, when we miss on a house, I'm going to move in it. I'm living in an RV now, so I'm going to get a lot more bold. So as that went out, we bought the houses, okay? We didn't know how to owner finance, didn't know how to do any of that. We ended up owner financing one, flipping the other. We bought one that was 2 hours away in Granbury, flipped it, made like $17,000, and we're rolling. But we're finding out that from the time the money leaves your bank account till it gets back in when you're flipping houses, I don't care. If everything goes perfect, it's 90-day turnaround. Well, I'm an all-in kind of guy. So I had, at this point in time, I still had bills. It was eating away at my savings. And I get down to a point in this investing where I had like $9,000 in the bank. We had spent the $106,000, and I had a house under contract that we needed to purchase, the original $10,000 house, and we needed $10,000. And I had to call Sherry Wharton, and she probably remembers this. Didn't have the money because there was some squirreliness going on, some small town stuff. I won't ever talk about that publicly. But anyways, I thought I had it assigned and was going to make $5,000. It turns out they were just going to wait out my contract, but I'm too hard-headed. So I literally took the last $9,000 I had in the bank with a $2,000 a month mortgage at that point in time, mind you, and a couple of house payments. Borrowed an additional $1,100 from the person that's like my mom and went and closed on that house. That was one of the most rude awakenings for me at that point in time, because now I've taken my family to completely broke. I have $12,000 in credit cards to pay the electric bill. I have no way to make the mortgage. And if I don't sell this house, then it's dire straits. I have to go make this house sale. Now, it's a $10,000 house, 3-1 brick. I'm sad we don't still own this house. But at that point in time, I thought, what do I need to do next? Can I sit here and feel sorry for myself? Can I be mad at the person that was trying to rip me off? What can I do? And I'd started following Grant Cardone, and I asked myself, what would this cat do? So I jumped on it, got on Craigslist, put it out on Craigslist for 15 grand. Turned around, had it. I was meeting a guy out of Houston at a Starbucks in Huntsville. Sold it, made my 5,000, got myself out of that situation. But what I learned from there was there's a problem here, and the problem is no matter if you're doing your best job or not, flipping these houses, you make money. But as soon as you make it, I'm having to then pay my truck payment, my house note, and all this. And then I look up and I don't have any. I'm not gaining any. I'm not growing my money. I'm just paying bills. So I pulled the ripcord. I said, you know what? I'm out of this house. I don't need this house. I have equity. I'll take this. I'll sell it. I'll sell everything and get to a point to where I no longer have to worry about it. So I sold everything that had a payment. Every single thing that had a payment was out of my life at that point in time. I got rid of everyone. Are we froze up, Travion?
That might be froze up, but we're not froze
okay.
up. We're still good.
I was like, man, I'm trying to
we got
to
a
answer
live feed
questions
over here on the right.
So anyways, that is how the journey started. Now, it would have been easy, real easy to quit right then. It would have been real easy to go get a roughnecking job right then. I could have took a job at that point in time making $8,000 a month. Not a bad living. Could have had it in 5 minutes. Could have had it in one phone call. But at that point in time, the reason why I didn't quit comes back to right here. I had told Jacob at the beginning of this that if we did this, he made one comment that stuck with me and sticks with me to the day. He goes, Corey, you're the hardest worker in the world when you get off the couch. It's if you're going to get off the couch. So, I was like, damn, that's cold-blooded. That hurts a little bit, Jacob. I mean, damn, this couch is comfortable. But at that point in time, that's what I like to do. I worked 14 days out of the month where I got to come home for 14 days. Me and Emery hung out by the fire. We ate a little ice cream. We played a little video games. We weren't worried about it. We're making $30,000 a month. What do we got to worry about? We get to chill. We earned it, right? Almost a sense of entitlement. But at this point in time, I now have Jacob's money online. I could care less about Corey's money. I could lose all Corey's money tomorrow. Wouldn't matter. I'll go make it back. Jacob's money, I was extremely worried about Jacob's money. So from there, we start learning a little bit about wholesaling. We start learning a little bit about hard money. We take out our first hard money loan, make $27,000 on that transaction. Excellent transaction, but still at this point in time, when you're flipping houses, you're not gaining as fast as you were. And along the line, we bought a bunch of these little $10,000 houses. So we start buying these $10,000 houses, but now we're all the way out of money again. And we got a $10,000 house in Thornton, Texas. It's the one that's at the bottom of the screen. And we're broke because we bought all these other $10,000 houses. We're trying to sell them for people from Dallas, people from Houston. We're in Groesbeck. These are little, they're not bad houses. They're just $10,000 houses. We're trying to sell them for $15,000 and make people from outside understand our vision that, hey, if you buy this house for $15,000, you're going to make money. Well, they couldn't see it and I couldn't sell it, so we ended up owning it. So the only thing I could do was rent them out. So we ended up with a rental portfolio, which is what Jacob wanted to begin with. So it worked out all right. But this particular $10,000 house, we had zero money and we needed an opportunity to work. That's all we needed. The very first time I talked to this man, that's all I told him was, hey, if you give us an opportunity to work, we will put it all on the line for you. Like, I won't leave you hanging. Did not know at this point in time, it was the first meetup we went to, we sent this lead out to them. They blasted it out to their buyers list for us. And this was the only person to reply to this. So all of y'all that ignored that email, it's coming back at you tenfold. Tyler Albertson. Tyler is now in the fold. Tyler, he called us on a $10,000 house in Thornton. We basically wholesaled that house to Tyler for $12,000. So we made $2,000. Okay? Life-changing money at that moment in time. I know exactly where I was when we got that $2,000. It meant that much to me at that point in time. It was like, oh my gosh, yeah, food for another month. This is great. So we sell this to him. He ends up with $18,000 in the house because we did a rehab on it. And we've owner financed that house twice since then. We've had to take it back once. I don't even think the people that are in it now are paying. It's probably going to go into our rental portfolio. As far as deals go, this deal has been a dud, right? But we did everything we said we were going to do from start to finish on that. So the next thing we did with Tyler was 4 mobile homes, and I never will forget this. This comes back to purpose. This comes back to why you're doing something. When we took on those 4 mobile homes with Tyler, the numbers were outstanding. And we knew we could do it at this point in time. We'd flip some houses. We had a really good contractor working for us. These 4 mobile homes were trash. I mean bad, but they were all 4-bedroom, 2 baths. We knew what they would rent for. We knew that we could turn them around. We knew we were the right person for the job. We had the skill set. We just had to go execute it. And Tyler was like, yeah, I love those numbers. Let's do it. But he didn't look at them. Because I remember this. We didn't know Tyler that well this time, but I know him now, so I could say this. He was under contract probably a week before closing when he finally looked at them. And, I mean, all the windows broke out. It was bad, like bad. And he got there, and he called me, and he said, I'm going to have to start looking at some of this stuff before we buy it. And I said, oh, no, don't worry. Trust me, we got it. We're gonna get it turned around. So we turned those around and rented them for him, and did exactly what we said we were going to do there. I think we missed by the budget by $5,000. But the biggest point in this is one of my really good friends at this point in time. His name's Matt Schive. He gets laid off from work. He's a construction manager, and we were able to pay him $10,000 to manage that that project for us, manage that rehab, driving it parts. So he made $10,000 in that month. Again, purpose. Your friends, your network. He had fell on hard times. Boom, here's 10 grand to get you through the next month. And we were able to provide that opportunity for him, which is way, 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 way bigger than any dollar you can make. Anytime a friend's in need and you can help them out, trust me, you'll get it back tenfold. So now Tyler's in the mix, and we did this house, and we did 4 mobiles in Mahia. My handwriting is really bad. And the last guy is a guy named Stuart Miller. Stuart Miller, I'm going to write his name down before I forget. I think I'm standing in the way, so y'all can't even see this. But Stuart, am I in frame? I am. Okay, so Stuart, when Stuart came on board, he was the first person to buy me a chicken fried steak while I was in real estate. And he was sending out postcards and doing some different things in marketing. But he was the national sales trainer for Homevestors, the We Buy Ugly Houses people. He was doing that job whenever the economy crashed 2009, and he got laid off. I recently heard his story. I'll let him tell it to y'all sometime. So Stuart had moved to Waco. We were right outside of Waco. The meetup that we went to, College Station meetup, which is where all this started. One of the guys there introduced us to Stuart, said, hey, you need to go sit down and talk with this guy. I think he can help provide some knowledge and structure and everything else. So when I went and sat down with Stuart, I don't know what he thought of me. We're 2 completely different personalities, but Stuart is a really good salesperson. He's sold everything. He's owned businesses, restaurants. He can put in systems. He can do things that I couldn't do in 150 years. But at this point in time, we're just talking about marketing and getting deals and everything else. And I owned a property free and clear, a house on 32 acres. I knew I could take that property. Knew it with my whole heart. Never done it, but I knew I could do it. I knew I could take that property and subdivide it into tracts and owner finance them off, and it would generate, I don't remember, it was gonna be like $1,000 a month cash flow, $0 invested, that kind of deal. I knew I could do it. I'd never done it before. So I started talking to Stuart about it. I wanted him to see my vision. He said, so I'll have $0 invested. Yeah, just bring a bank. We'll wrap the note. We had learned a little bit at this point in time about wrap mortgages and things like that. And he said, all right, I'll do it with y'all. And so we took the 32 acres. We divided it into 6 tracts, but we ended up selling 4 of them for cash. Owner financed the house in 9 acres, owner financed 14 acres. And there it was. Cash flow, $0 invested, and actually picked up, I think $38,000 and $600, $700, $800 a month cash flow. So we did exactly what we said we were going to do for Stuart, which we told him the same thing, just give us an opportunity to work. So we started doing these little partnerships where it was this deal here. We did another house with Stuart in Hearn, Texas, owner finance, another similar type deal. We've bought and wholesale rentals back and forth to each other. But this was the crew. So when we got our first mobile home park lead, it was all the same story, same exact story. When I got that lead for the mobile home park, I knew it was a home run. I knew it. I didn't know why it was a home run. I didn't know how to figure cap rate. I didn't know how to figure any of those things. I didn't know any of that. I just knew the numbers were tremendous. If you take something, you can buy it for $350,000 and it's going to pay you $11,000 a month, you're doing some pretty savvy investing. I didn't know how to do any of those numbers yet at that time, but I figured it out on the fly. And just like before, we needed some help because we were all in all the time. So called Tyler and called Stuart. And Tyler and Stuart didn't really know each other at that point in time. They kind of did. They knew of each other, but they didn't. And then we realized it was going to take all of us and everything we brought to the table. So, we're part of the same entity. And now we take this group of people right here and we hash out a deal. We say, all right, Stuart's going to bring some money. Tyler's going to bring some money. I negotiated the deal where it was an owner finance transaction, and Stuart had basically a friend that was the CFO at Homevestors once upon a time that he met through the ranks, and he did a second lien position on us for the down payment, and we had an owner finance mobile home park with $0 out of pocket. Now we're on the hook. It's back to purpose. What are you going to do? I told y'all how I felt about Jacob's money. I feel the same way about Tyler and Stuart's money too. I'll do better with their money than I will with my money. If you give me money right now, I could go gamble it in Vegas. It's what I do. Now, I don't do that too much anymore, but I don't worry about my money as much as I worry about other people's money. Other people's money I'll work really hard for. Mine, I've always been blessed with a skill set to be able to go work and earn money, so it's never meant as much to me as other people. So now we're all in on this. We've got a mobile home park for $350,000. We negotiated a $250,000 first lien position with the previous owner, $100,000 down, second lien position from Stuart's friend and lender, that is the CFO of an oil company, as it turns out now. But at this point in time, didn't know anything about that. Didn't know anything about where the money was coming from. Just knew we had negotiated a deal, and Tyler and Stuart were both going to put $100,000 into it. Me and Jacob, Jacob keeps the books and keeps me organized and managed. But we were going to go all find mobile homes for $10,000, $12,000, fill the park up, and get it rented out. Again, never done it before. Never even, wasn't on a plan, didn't have a vision board where I was sitting there looking at it, didn't have a picture of a Lambo up trying to attain it. All I had was I wanted to work. It was the same $2,000 that we made in Thornton, the same work ethic. It's just a bigger deal. The reason why I made the decision to go after the bigger deal was because Propelio's very own Daniel Chad Moore had talked about his biggest mistake in real estate was not going for bigger deals sooner. So this was a well. This is going to change our life. I think I was planning on retiring at this point in time once we got this one across the finish line. So from here, this point in time, my social media presence was a little bit different. I was going live a lot, talking a lot. I've made a lot of friends, a lot of friends through social media that I've never met in real life. And I was following a couple of guys, Jamie Waite, David Heel. I've heard him say it on his voicemail, but anyways, I'm following these cats on social media, and they're kind of on the same journey with storage units. And it's like everything that Dave is saying, I don't understand it. Everything that Jamie's saying, and I even had a conversation with Jamie where I was looking at our ROI on owner finance deals, which were infinite, and but he was talking about the value of having one negotiation for storage units and being able to do that and be able to grow exponentially. So Daniel had told me to start doing bigger deals sooner on a live video just like this, and I got Jamie and Dave constantly talking about their storage deals, but I didn't understand the language. I didn't speak it fluently. So as I start looking and digesting what they're putting out, I start applying those same numbers to our mobile home park. And that's when I realized that this asset that we bought for $350,000, we got $550 in it right now, maybe let's just say $600,000, doesn't matter. It's worth about $900,000 as it sits right now. We get some expenses down. So that comes to figuring cap rates and how the bank looks at it and everything else. So as I start realizing this, it comes more apparent that whenever we refinance out of this property, we're not going to have any money in it. We know that because of the banks we work with. So we go for it. We go for the refi, and then we refi, and we end up getting all of our cash back out of it. and we had just burred a mobile home park and executed all the way through. And we also got an inside track to how banks view mobile home parks, which they actually look at them better than we look at them. So Dave and Jamie are talking massive action, 9-figure goals, everything else. So it's like, can we do this again? Can we replicate what we did right here? Do we have the ability to do it? What are we doing? So we set a goal for 2018. I said, hey, everybody's like, what should our goal be on it? We had acquired another mobile home park or had it under contract at this point in time. And they're talking about it, and somebody said, I think if we do 100 doors, we'll be good. Grant Cardone, 10X rule. So I say 1,000. Well, the 1,000 doors made us all start solving problems that we didn't know we were going to have. You then start looking at the massive amount of debt it's going to take to get 1,000 doors. You start breaking down what it's going to take on the backside. Do I need a credit partner with a big W-2? What do I need from a different point of view? Like, what do I need as far as hard money lenders? Like, how many hard money lenders is it going to take to burr 1,000 doors of mobile home parks? And so we start taking action. And pretty soon we have a mobile home park in Willis, and we've already purchased it. We have another mobile home park in Kearns, Texas. We've already purchased it. We're actually setting mobiles in on it right now. The one in Willis is fully functional, didn't have to do anything to it. The one in Kearns, I think we're going to end up with about 10 or 11 homes in there on the first wave, and then we'll be able to put another 5 in, which, now that I know how to look at the numbers, I know that I can take a $20,000 mobile home, set it in, and get $70,000 worth of cap rate, which is just crazy. So you're instantly growing your net worth, you're growing your cash flow, you're growing all of these metrics that the banks like to see, which means since we're getting into them for so low, we have equity. Dave reached out to me on a phone call. He said we should jump on a call together. We jumped on a call. He shared with me his growing plans, which comes to living in abundance versus scarcity. If you're in scarcity, you want to hide knowledge. You want to hold back. You don't want to tell people what you're doing because you think there's only going to be this one deal and it's going to be one and I've got to make it work. If you're thinking in abundance, you're always giving information and it comes back to you tenfold. So I was lucky enough to get on a phone call with Dave, and he told me about their growing pains because we were going to leave when we refinanced out. Let's say if we had bought a park for $250,000 and we know that it's worth $700,000, we could pull equity out on the refi. Which means we could get money back at closing when we put it on a bank loan. We weren't going to do that. We were going to hold on to cash flow and keep our reserves low. And Dave said, no, the bank wants to see reserves. So pull equity out of this deal, pull equity out of that deal, and then you'll have enough reserves to where as you move forward, you'll be able to do this. So one phone call and it's like, boom, mind blown. Understanding the language again, there's a language barrier there when you're talking millionaire versus roughneck. I'm getting better at it, but at that point in time, I just jump on the phone with Jacob, I jump on the phone with Tyler, I jump on the phone with Stuart. I'm like, hey guys, I got a plan. Y'all are gonna think this is crazy, but just hear me out. And then we're gonna take this to 1,000 doors. And so we hashed that out a little bit further down the rabbit hole. We learned about a 506C, something, I don't even know what it is, how to build a fund, essentially. Now all the money that we have on the sideline from friends and family that have been offering money, we can now get in play. We can get it out, get their chips on the table, and we won't have to worry about pestering hard money lenders to try to loan us money on a mobile home park in Pecos. So all of this, I'm talking really fast, and I hope y'all are soaking some of this up. You might have to go rewatch it a couple of times, but none of this was me out begging for money. I never was out begging for money. I was bringing deals to the table that I'd found in places you've never heard of and calling the people who had actually reached out to us, but through action, through networking, through Facebook being probably the biggest weapon. Never once did I go out and ask somebody, hey, do you want money? I always was like, give us an opportunity to work and we'll make good on our word. If you give us a chance and we can't do it, I don't know what we'll do at that point in time, but I know that we can because here's what I'm seeing. And if you're seeing something different, just bring it up. And through those conversations, we've gotten a syndicator on our team. We've got Stuart, who has a million years experience at everything. When three 30-somethings, Tyler's in his 20s, but a couple of 30-somethings and a 20-year-old walk into a bank and say, hey, we want to take, we're going to be at $25 million in debt this year. They look at you a little funny, but when you got Stuart with you, and we normally let him do most of the talking at the banks. I get to do zero talking at the banks. Oops, my bad. So that is kind of how our company ended up being structured. That's how we went from being, now, and we've done 20 owner finance, 30 owner finance, whatever it is. We own our own rental portfolio of probably, I don't know, I don't really keep count, but whatever that is, it's probably north of 20 of our own personal stuff. GBT Investments, Corey and Jacob, they own their own stuff too. We don't do everything together, but the mobile home parks is them, is all of us together. What they do, I cannot do. I can't syndicate money like Tyler can. I don't know the regulations. Tyler does. He can build the fund. He knows the SEC attorneys. He knows everything to do. Stuart is the only one on our team that understands how to title over a mobile home, even though we're all licensed mobile home dealers now. I slept in class, slept outside of class. I did not pay attention. I just, A, B, C, D, E, F, Y, I just wrote my name. Anyways, but Stuart's a guy that gets titled over. Stuart's somebody that brings like structure and organization because he's built restaurants and everything else, put a system in place. And Jacob, poor Jacob, Jacob has the worst job of all. I get to come out and ride around and look at mobile home parks. I'm dressed because we're onboarding one in Fort Worth. So I'm going out there to meet the tenants today and let them know there's a new sheriff in town. I'm the new sheriff. So I'll be the first person they see. I'll be the person that deals with the meth dealer in Unit 7 and go in there and snatch him out. Like, that's my deal. But Jacob's part of it is the world's worst part of it. He has to figure out who paid rent, why they paid rent, why they didn't pay rent, when they're going to pay rent. I do a little bit of that, but I'm like the enforcer. Whenever I get called to the scene, I'm knocking on the door, hey, pay me my money. So that is the four legs of the system. But through all this living in abundance versus scarcity, I've had I don't know how many other people we've met. So we've built out a team to wholesale because I've got these amazing little voicemails I can do. Jason Witherspoon can vouch for me. You can go to Roughneck and Real Estate, Roughneck to Real Estate, and watch the show. I don't know. So forever ago, we had somebody talk to us about team building. We're not wholesalers by trade, just not good at it. I don't know why I'm not good at it. I'm just not good at it. I don't like it. It's not my strong suit. But I know a bunch of wholesalers. I know a bunch of people who need to wholesale to get seed money. That $160,000, I'm not going to take that $160,000 that we had to start for granted. I know that if everybody had $160,000, they could grow as much as we can. But you got to get the $160,000. So wholesaling is the path to that. So what we're doing now to live in abundance versus scarcity is we're putting our own marketing to work. And we've built a team of 10 individuals, Kyle Garner, Jason Witherspoon, Ryan Jackson, Jason McDougall. I know I'm forgetting some people, but we're going to do probably about $7,000 a month in marketing that is going to go to them, and they're going to pay us $1,500 a deal they close. So if they make $40,000 on an assignment or flip it or do whatever, they're just going to pay us $1,500. That gives us probably a little bit of operating capital. We'll probably be doing pretty good, but what it really does is it gets somebody like Kyle Garner, who's got a full-time job. He doesn't have to worry about marketing. The only thing he has to worry about is appointments. Somebody like Jason Witherspoon, who's on full-time and has an IT background, can take this gibberish that I talk and translate it into making the system perform as it's supposed to, because all I'm going to do is throw the voicemails out. He's going to put the system together to send them out and do all that. So all of that comes full circle from the abundance mentality versus the scarcity mentality. It comes from the commitment to people who extended us an olive branch at a moment of need, because I'm telling you, y'all have no idea how much this $2,000 meant to me at that point in time. We've been all in on this the entire time. I mean, we got reserves and stuff like that, and we run a pretty tight business. But at that moment in time, it wasn't structured anything like a business. It was just survival. It was just make the next dollar to be able to eat. I didn't have no monthly payments at that point in time. So when people ask me why would you live in an RV, and I have a good answer for that now. I do not live in an RV. I live out here. This is where I live. I sleep at an RV. I don't believe in celebrating too soon. So eventually I will move into a mobile home, probably on some land or something like that, hopefully within the next year, but it's not on my vision board. It's not on my goal sheet. It's not anywhere on the horizon. The only thing that's on the horizon is getting these people right here to a net worth of $10 million this year. To get that done, I'll move into one of our mobile homes. If I don't get that done, then I'll just keep going. That's just the life hack that I found to keep me moving. So for everybody that wants to ask about making money, or do I find a deal first or money, I would say this: take action, go network, get started. If Kyle Garner rode around with me one day, I've had several people ride around with me. Kyle rode around with me one day, and he's like, "Man, I'm thinking about this. Don't get stuck in how minutia. Just go do something. Go knock on a door, any door, and ask them to buy their house. Make sure they own it first. You don't want to be knocking on a rent house. But even if you do end up at a rent house, ask them for their landlord's phone number and ask them if they want to sell their house. I don't care what you do for a marketing budget, because we didn't know what a marketing budget was back then. We found all of our deals on Facebook and on Craigslist. We didn't struggle finding deals. Everybody's looking for these big home runs or whatever. You just need to be out taking action. And if you take action, then you call somebody like me, if you got my number, Daniel, Ryan, and say, hey, come look at this. And boom, you got a split. You call Jawad and say, hey, come look at this with me. Boom, you got a split. If you're taking action, you will attract the right kind of people into your circle. I promise you, none of this would have been possible if I was sitting behind a keyboard somewhere, being a keyboard warrior all day, every day, and not out taking action. I talk a lot of shit on Facebook, no doubt about that. But I also am out looking at houses every day. I'm out doing things every day. I'm out doing the things that we started doing at the beginning when we didn't know what to do, that led us down this road. So, I don't know if I got questions, because are those comments current? Do we have any questions? So,
one question from Jawad was, did you build the fund or buy the fund?
we're going to build the fund. So the fund is going to be I think we're going to have about $2 million. It's going to be the Friends and Family Fund. We've got some people that got $70,000. We got some people that got $50,000. We got some people that got $1 million, and we're gonna put that money to work for them on the mobile home parks. And the way we're going to do that fund is kind of interesting. Yesterday there was a gentleman here, Jim Glasgow. He's using the exact same fund that we were using, that we're going to use, but we're going to use ours a little different. So we're going to buy distressed properties using the fund. Then we're going to put a bank loan on it to take the fund out. When the fund is taken out, our people that have the fund have all of their money back, but they're still going to get 50% of the profit of that mobile home park for the next 10 years. So it's going to compound their money out pretty fast here at the beginning, because we know that we'll be able to get everything onto a bank loan. And then it also gives us insulation for whenever we can't get it on a bank loan, because let's say we move too fast for the bank's comfort level, or we can't find a W-2 partner or something like that, and we're stuck with it on a fund. It doesn't hurt us. We just keep paying the fund like it does, and we just wait for the banks to loan us money again. So any other questions?
Right now, I don't have any questions directly coming in, but we do have quite a few comments of people just saying thank you, hey, appreciate it, those kinds of things.
Well, guys, I wanted to write this down. I wanted to do a better vision board, but Vanna White is he's actually working. He didn't want to come over and draw. And my handwriting's too bad. I should have brought somebody to handwrite, but I wanted to draw a flow chart for everybody to know, because if you don't know who Dave Hill is on Facebook, follow him right now. He's probably maxed out on friends. Give him a follow. He's going to say some things that are going to hurt your feelings. He says things that hurts my feelings all the time. And every time he hurts my feelings, I have to do a deep dive and find out, well, what is it? Are you taking it personal, or do you need to be taking more action? Are you, what is it? And believe me, I'm the biggest bum on earth. Me and Emery can fuck off like it's nobody's business. We'll eat ice cream all day. We go and get our toes done. I mean, some days we don't hit a lick. It's not about hustle and grind and all that. Like, my daughter is with me 99% of the time. We do a lot of things together, a lot of stuff. But I'm always moving chess pieces around to make the next deal work, or always thinking about it. But all of my life isn't it isn't as chaotic as I think, because I had Brian Jackson and them come down to Grosbeck and hang out at my office, and they're like probably thinking, this is it. This is what it looks like. Some days this is what it looks like. Emery's running around terrorizing the place, and we're sending out some voicemail calls. I'm calling back some people. I'm doing some follow-up. I got to get really good at follow-up. You know, a lot of times I reflect and look at my weaknesses. You know, I've got 130 motivated sellers in my phone right now because I wasn't using CallRail. I was using a different app. This is something that Jason Witherspoon taught me last week, or 2 weeks ago. You know, my app was junk because it's not tracking my calls like I need it to be, and I can't get them into a CRM, which means I can't do the follow-up. But I got one guy that calls me back like 5 times. He's got a house in Corpus. Anybody wants a house in Corpus? I got a lead. I hadn't even got the address from him. That's how far behind on marketing. We probably spent $1,500, $2,000 testing out our marketing our voicemail drops to see what kind of results it got. All I cared about was the phone ring, and I didn't care about the quality of the leads because, it doesn't matter to me the quality of the leads, because it doesn't matter if it's Netflix or buying houses. Once I get in the living room, it's going to happen.
I've got a question here from Austin Good, and
Yes,
he's
sir.
asking, where are you finding the majority of your mobile home park deals?
Okay, so right now, Mobile Home Park Store is a place that they come up. We're buying this one in Fort Worth from a wholesaler. Kind of been branded as the motherfucker of mobile homes. So I get tagged in a bunch of stuff and get to look at a bunch of stuff. So that helps. But the one in Pecos, I mean, it comes back to purpose. Stewart's buddy, that is one of our lenders, wanted to buy some mineral rights in Pecos from the tax sale. Anybody else, I promise you, nobody else is going to drive 11 hours to Pecos to stand out in 20-degree weather for 4 minutes to try to buy some minerals at auction. But, you know, I had a lot of things to do that week, including, I've got a 4-year-old daughter, so it's but that man had helped us out so much that whenever he asked that, I wasn't going to say, oh, hell no, I got other things to do. So I took off to Pecos, drove out there, got out there, and they drove all the way out there, got pulled from the auction, didn't even get a chance to bid on it. But when I got there, I'm oil field, so I saw what was happening. I'd felt that feeling before. So I started looking around, and I found that one out there looking around. And I promise you, execution is worshipped. In 6 months, or in June, whenever we have that thing turned around, and show y'all what we did with that, I'm going to have to pull back the reins on all the people that are going to be trying to invest in oil field towns, because we're literally going to take that mobile home park to, if we don't get it to $60,000 a month in gross rents, I'll retire, I'll quit. So,
Got another question here from Daniel Trinidad. What's the criteria for buying mobile homes that you're looking for? Age, year, construction size, blah, blah, blah.
I don't like particle board flooring. Was talking about that earlier. I'm becoming less of a fan of the metal roofs that you see the tires on top of. That's because they become detached from the rafters, and you'll hear them flexing when the wind blows. And if you ever taken a piece of wire and bend it, it eventually breaks. So those roofs are going to cause you problems down the road. We got several of those mobile homes. You know, they're really, it's a cheap fix. It's a cheap fix, but we had a tree land on one the other day. We actually sealed it up with Flex Seal of all things, cut it off ourselves. But that roof, I don't have a clue who's going to come out and fix that roof. We haven't found a contractor that wants to mess with it. So we're probably just going to end up building a roof over the top of it, which, you know, it takes money, but I'm less of a fan of those, because if that would have been a shingled roof, it'd be an easy repair, cheap, easy repair. So those are two things that criteria-wise. As far as age goes, I do not care about age. I will not buy a double wide because I'm renting. Double wides cost more to move. They're harder to level. And they don't rent for maybe $50, $100 a month more. So you're not getting any value there.
Take up more space.
Take up more space. So you could put two, theoretically you could put 2 single wides in the place of 1 double wide.
So other than that, I'm not seeing any other questions. Oh, here we got one. Not seeing any other questions popping up. If you'll have any questions, go ahead and send them in as we get them coming in.
Jawad asked, is it anything that's underperforming?
He's asking what the Brian criteria was. Jawad was answering that for him.
Oh, okay.
So outside of that, we've got another question popping in here from Colin. Have any issues with more vacancies than, say, a single-family rental or a single-family residence when working with mobile home parks?
No, and that depends on your market. So onboarding a mobile home park, it's kind of funny. You'll talk about the class of tenants. So you got, D, C, B, A class. In certain communities, certain areas, like Rosebeck for one, people will move out. They'll move in, break a lease because there's no consequence for them doing it, because none of the older landlords go through the eviction process, get a judgment or any of those sorts of things. So we've had issues with our Grosbeck mobile home park where people come in, live there a couple of months, 3-4 months, and then they move out. But the cool thing is they put down a deposit, they don't do any damage. We pay a cleaning girl, $50, $100, go in there and clean it out. And we have somebody in it before they even get all their stuff out. We have somebody else in it. So we're actually kind of gaining money because of the deposits we're picking up. But that vacancies are what killed us last year on our own rental portfolio, and that's my fault because I knew houses were sitting vacant. I was too busy running around like a chicken with my head cut off than to go find a tenant for them. So now as soon as something goes vacant, it goes right to the top of my list because when I seen the year in review and a lot of it's onboarding costs, stuff like that, but vacancies took our rental portfolio and basically we paid $5,000 for other people to live in our houses last year in our personal rental portfolio, not anything with the mobile home park. So we're correcting that, and that's part of growing and learning. That's part of the system. You know what I mean? When you go from not being a landlord to managing properties, you're going to have a learning curve. And honestly, I don't know that. Even if somebody would have told me, Corey, you need to pay attention to your rentals until I saw that number, or my vacancies until I saw that number, I would never thought it was going to be that bad.
Well, while I have a chance here, I'd like to go ahead and say for everybody out there watching, if you haven't already subscribed to Propelio's Facebook page, please go to facebook.com/Propelio app. Follow us there. Check us out at Propelio TV. That's Propelio.tv. And if you haven't checked out our website, Propelio.com, please do that as well. We offer comps, MLS comps, lead lists. We are now in beta testing a website. So if you need a cash buyer website for your real estate investing, go out there, check that out as well. And so on and so forth. Don't forget, Propelio.com is what's supporting and providing all this information to you. I appreciate Corey coming in. Do we have any other questions for Corey?
I want to touch on that a little bit, on the Propelio. I found out about Propelio through a real estate attorney that we use here in Dallas. He had told us about it. And we were early on in our investing career then. We didn't know a lot about marketing. Didn't even know what marketing was really. We learned what appointment of substitute trustee was from Daniel and learned how to pull it ourselves and all that sort of stuff. We kind of self-taught ourselves that. But my partner used to listen to Daniel's webinars and then feed me the information, and I would go out and take action on it. And I'm telling you right now, this kind of stuff right here, what Daniel's built here, I can't thank him enough because I know what it's like to be that new investor that's looking for information, a little bit information starved. I coined the term rich homie forever ago in the DFW investment groups. And the reason behind that was everybody was so hoarding all of their information. Like us new guys would come in there and try to talk or ask a question. And, it was kind of funny because people would just, blah, 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 blah. And you wouldn't know if it was right or wrong. So you would kind of, read the comments and look at some other comments, try to figure out if this guy's telling the truth or not. So I came in there one day and I was like, all of y'all probably got, so much money. All my rich homies in here, this is pocket change for you. You got this in your sock drawer. And it kind of stuck. But all of that came from Daniel and us looking for information and starting for information. When we found Daniel, we were able to take action. And he doesn't live in scarcity. He lives in abundance. Daniel's not afraid to tell you about the water list because, he knows that there's enough water list leads to go around. That's something that changed our business. The appointment of substitute trustee that they provide every day for us in all of the markets we operate in is huge because if you take action on that list every day, you cannot help but to buy houses. So I want to thank Daniel and Propelio for that and everything that they do here. It's changed our business 1,000%.
That's more than appreciated, man. Me and my business partner, Nate Worcester, the help of the team here with Ryan Harper, Travion, the rest of the development team. I mean, we appreciate feedback like that. So thank you, man.
And when it comes to these websites, I'm telling you right now, Daniel got me set up in 2 seconds earlier. As soon as I get back to the office, it'll probably be 10 or 11 tonight. But when I get back, I'm going to start a marketing campaign based off of their websites because I want to put them to work. It's exactly what you need. It's got all of the lingo that I can't. I'm a terrible copywriter, by the way. Don't know if y'all know that. So it's got all that on there. So all you got to do is link it to it, and then when they submit their lead, it goes into Propelio for you, and then you just hit Run CMA, and there you are. You know what the property's worth. You already know how to offer. You know what they want for the property. I mean, what else do you need? You know what I mean? You probably need the $200 on the Facebook ad skills, but I'll show you all that in Roughneck to Real Estate. So.
Well, I do appreciate it. The comments are just, once again, saying thank you, those types of things. Appreciate it. Any final words before we wrap this up?
No, that's it. I just Roughneck Real Estate Facebook group. I keep getting kicked out of other Facebook groups. I talk a lot of shit, so I started my own. A guy named Colby K actually went to a deal called Meltdown in the Desert last year. It's in Arizona. It's kind of like a vacation for us. I'm going back this year. Some of y'all need to come out. It gets you thinking outside the box for sure. But yeah, come out to that. And that's after I went to that, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make my own Facebook group. That way nobody can kick me out. And since then, it's grown to almost 2,000 people. I appreciate y'all's support, but if you're in there, add more people. If you're not in there, get in there and talk some shit with us, because nobody really gets kicked out. I mean, we don't, unless Facebook kicks you out.
I get blocked from it on a regular basis, but I guess wrapping this up real quick, for those of you that do not know, February 26th down there in San Antonio, Propelio will be having its inaugural meetup. This is a great event put on by Ryan Harper. We've got an open bar, we've got food, we've got education. It's going to be a third networking, a third education, and a third something else.
1/3 networking, 1/3 education, 1/3 party.
So there you go. Third
One-third
networking, a
party?
third education, 1/3 party. So it's going to be a fun event. We've got 300 people or so registered, somewhere around there.
And I'm not registered, but I'm going.
So
write me down.
We're going to have a party down there in San Antonio. If y'all San Antonio folks, Houston, Austin, make your way over there. It's going to be February 26th at the Carver Cultural Center. That's going to be a good one. And we're going really ambitious for March. We're going for, I think it's the 26th, 27th, and 28th. We're going to be in Austin, San Antonio, Houston. Same thing. We're going to have the bar. We're going to have the food. We're going to have the networking, the education. And this is not going to be that BS, coming by my $9.97 course. We're tired of seeing that in this industry. We're tired of seeing those types of people fly through and do those types of things. I'm all for having the right mentor, but if your mentor just hopped off a plane and saying $9.97 for my 3-day course, you might want to reevaluate who you're talking to. So that's going to be in March. We're going to have that going on. And as always, double check with Propelio. Follow the Roughneck to Real Estate group with Corey. We've also got another group out there that Jawad's got that's really good. The DFW Investment Group. We've all got those going on. So I appreciate you tuning in. If you have any questions, get them in before we roll this up. But, final words.
That's it. Just go out there and take some action. Live in abundance, not in scarcity, and everything will fall into place for you.
Cool. Thank you for tuning in, everybody, and have a wonderful day.
Thank y'all.